Imagine a world where the price of a diamond isn't determined by its clarity or cut, but by the whispers of a crowd and the stroke of a digital pen. Welcome to the modern era of football, where the beautiful game has been hijacked by an algorithm. You might think the most powerful person in football is a billionaire owner or a legendary manager, but you're looking in the wrong direction. The real puppet master is a website, a database that started as a hobby and evolved into a financial titan that dictates the fate of clubs from London to Lisbon. We are diving deep into the digital shadows to uncover how Transfermarkt is no longer just reporting the market. It is creating it, manipulating it, and potentially destroying the organic essence of the sport we love. Buckle up, because at Sportx Radar, we don't just watch the game, we track the signals the world tries to hide. The explosion of football's financial landscape didn't happen by accident. When the Bosman ruling shattered the old chains of player registration in 1995, it didn't just free the players, it birthed a chaotic Wild West market where value was a ghost. Clubs were desperate for a compass, a way to measure the millions they were throwing into the void. Enter the era of hypervaluation. We watched in awe as €10 million records in the 90s transformed into €200 million sagas today. But who decided that a teenager with 3 good months of form is worth more than a seasoned veteran with a cabinet full of trophies? It wasn't a bank, and it wasn't a government. It was a collective of market values determined by an online community. This shift has turned human beings into stocks, volatile assets whose worth can plummet or skyrocket based on a single weekend of mob market sentiment. But here is the catch that everyone ignores. Transfermarkt is not an official financial authority. It is a social experiment disguised as a ledger. When you see a $200 million tag on a player like Lamine Yamal, you aren't looking at a price tag, you're looking at an opinion. It's a sophisticated estimation based on age, contract length, and prestige. But it lacks the cold, hard reality of a bank audit. Yet the world treats it like the gospel. We've reached a point where Real Madrid, Manchester City, and Paris Saint-Germain are ranked and judged by their squad value, as if they were investment portfolios rather than sports teams. When the Premier League dominates the top 20 list with 11 teams, it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because they are valued higher, they demand more, and because they demand more, the market justifies their value. It's a closed loop that keeps the rich at the top and the rest of the world fighting for scraps. The mechanism behind these numbers is where the true intrigue lies. The process is deceptively simple. Users suggest values, experts review them, and managers approve the final number. But who are these experts? For the most part, they are volunteers, passionate fans who spend their free time debating whether a left-back in the Bundesliga is worth $2 million more than one in League One. This means the multi-billion-dollar football industry is being steered by people sitting behind computer screens in their bedrooms. While the site claims to use parameters, those parameters are subjective. Age, injury history, and marketing potential are all filtered through the lens of human bias. This is the football manager effect in real life, where a digital rating can literally break a club's scouting budget. The danger arises when the professional world starts drinking the Kool-Aid. When clubs like Como, Marseille, or Porto use these values as a baseline for negotiations, they aren't just using data, they are outsourcing their intelligence. We've seen scouting chiefs admit that their hobby is browsing the site to find talent. This creates a dangerous laziness. If a player's value on the site is low, a club might overlook a generational talent. If it's high, they might overpay for a flop. Even UEFA uses these figures for financial reporting. When the institutions meant to regulate the game start relying on a volunteer-run website, the line between reality and simulation blurs. Even the site AS' own executives have warned that clubs shouldn't move based solely on their numbers, yet the momentum is now too great to stop. Now let's talk about the shadows, the dark side of valuation. In a world where a number on a screen dictates a transfer fee, the incentive for manipulation is astronomical. Imagine you are a high-profile agent. If you can convince a few influential moderators or a vocal group of e-volunteers that your player is the next big thing, you can artificially inflate his value. This isn't just theory, It's a strategic operation. By pumping rumors into the site's database and pairing them with aggressive media PR, an agent can take a $5 million player and make him look like a $20 million bargain. This psychological warfare sets the floor for negotiations. A club executive will look at the screen and think, well, the world says he's worth 15, so 12 is a steal. In reality, they are being played by a digital ghost. This manipulation creates a propaganda vitrine. When agents like Jorge Mendes or influencers like Fabrizio Romano operate in this ecosystem, they aren't just reporting news, they are shifting the tectonic plates of the market. If a player's value is slashed, his leverage in contract talks disappears. If it's boosted, he becomes a hot commodity. This has turned the transfer market into a digital stock exchange where the insiders hold all the cards. We see small clubs becoming entirely dependent on these valuations to survive, while the giants use them to justify their monopoly. It's no longer about how well you kick the ball, it's about how well your value is defended in the forums of the internet. Furthermore, this system creates a systemic bias against leagues outside the Big Five. While a wonder kid in a top league hits a $50 million valuation after 5 good games, talents in Portugal, the Netherlands, or Belgium have to work twice as hard for half the recognition. This league prestige penalty puts these clubs at a massive disadvantage at the bargaining table. They are forced to sell their best assets for market value, which is often a fraction of what those players would be worth if they wore a different jersey. It's an economic ceiling that keeps the status quo firmly in place, preventing the rise of new powerhouses and ensuring that the Champions League remains a playground for the elite. We've seen teams with the lowest squad values in the Champions League, like Bodø Glimt or Karabag, humiliate giants with billion-euro rosters. The heart, the tactics, and the grit of the game cannot be quantified by a volunteer in a dark room. The future of football depends on our ability to see through the digital fog. If we continue to allow a single platform to be the judge, jury, and executioner of player worth, we are allowing the soul of the sport to be sold to the highest bidder or the best manipulator. Thank you for tuning into this deep dive. At Sportx Radar, we keep our eyes on the data so you can see the truth behind the game. But what do you think? Has the digital age destroyed the authenticity of transfers, or is this just the natural evolution of a global business? Are there other platforms you trust more to give an honest look at the game? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one of them.